God damn it. No! 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 No!
So it's going to be one of those games, is it? Oh, I've got you covered. Originally released for the Sega Genesis, November 23rd, 1993 in America. 3 days later, on the 26th in Europe, and on December 10th in Japan. It will be developed by Sega Technical Institute in America and published by Sega just a couple months after Sonic CD had been released, and it only had a couple months worth of actual development once Sega realized that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 wasn't going to be ready in time for the holiday release for the main Genesis system. Today we're covering Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball, which will also see ports to the Game Gear Master System, Windows, and the Game Boy Advance, but we are covering the original Genesis today. Per usual, let's start off with a look at the manual. The evil scientist, Dr. Robotnik, has unleashed his most diabolical plot yet to turn the animals of planet Mobius into robots. His monstrous contraption, the Veggie Fortress built on Mount Mobius, is already transforming happy creatures into mindless slaves. Robotnik's fiendish machine draws its power from the mountain's volcano. Fiery lava fuels the lethal pinball defense system that protects the fortress. Sonic and his pal Tails mount an air assault on the fortress, only to be blasted in mid-flight by Robotnik's cannons. His snot cannons, if you want to go back and confirm that. Sonic is knocked in deep waters near the volcano. In no time at all, Sonic starts swiping emeralds, freeing the animals of Mobius, and dishing out Hedgehog justice. Yo, Robotnik, you're in for a mountain of trouble now. Sonic is spinning into action. So Sonic Spinball is a spin-off of the Sonic the Hedgehog series and is obviously going after pinball games. Of course, Sonic has a history of pinball physics going back to the first game in the Spring Yard zone, but definitely maturing in Sonic the Hedgehog 2's Casino Night zone. There you would have actual flippers being used, whereas in the first game was mostly just bumpers. So give them what they want. It might be what Sega was thinking with this one, as the public certainly wanted some more Sonic games, and I'm sure more than a few fans had the idea prior to this game that Sonic would make a good pinball experience. I got it when it was brand new, Christmas of 93 there, and I actually remember my father playing this one a little bit. He played the Genesis a lot more than he played the Nintendo. He was mostly on the Amiga back then. Did not have all that much respect for the Nintendo, but I would definitely see him on the Genesis with certain games a lot. Now, my father was a huge fan of actual pinball going back to when he was a kid, and any chance we got, we would be playing pinball games. We went to the theater every week practically, and we would be playing and competing against each other. So here, as we go into the trash can, on the marquee up there, it said, "How about a ride?" Now, my dad was really good at following the instructions in actual pinball, which is why he would usually win, but not always. That's why he liked playing. He liked winning, but knowing that he could lose is why he liked, because I could do the reflexes, but he actually, was reading what the thing said. He knew, what to do in order to get more points. So how about a ride? He goes into that trash can and he goes for a ride, and he gets the emerald. So I learned that by actually watching him. Although he didn't get all that much further in this one, I think his patience was wearing thin by the second or third level of the game, because, it's not really emulating pinball all that much, to be honest. It's a very strange hybrid, and nothing else is like it, which is why I do like this game, because there's nothing like it. Let's take a look at some historical context from Electronic Games, January of 1994. Tom Kolansky, Gamer of the Year. A Sega salesman is the Gamer of the Year. Okay. Sonic sales over Macy's was kind of a big deal at the time. Sonic the Hedgehog took it uncharacteristically slow, heading down Broadway as the first balloon based on a video game character to join in Macy's annual Thanksgiving Day parade. Wow, was that a run-on sentence there? We're thrilled to have Sonic join us in this year's parade. With his feisty attitude, Sonic is certainly one of the most anticipated balloons in this year's lineup. Sonic Spinball, 8 megabits, 1 to 4 players, 4 levels. Sega's fleet-footed Hedgehog has returned with a vengeance in Sonic Spinball, the first U.S. programmed Sonic game. That's not exactly true, by the way. This multi-screen, multi-directional pinball game was inspired by the Casino Night Zone sequence in Sonic 2. I think they're just going with what Sega tells them. It was first in Spring Yard Zone, Sonic 1, and Sonic 2 was programmed in America. I think this is Sega's way of saying, if you don't like it, it was their fault. It was the Americans' fault. You know, Sonic 2 was programmed in America, but mostly by the Japanese, people in America. But this one was more the American people. I think Sega is saying, if you don't like it, it's their fault. Now, the vast chunk of this review is stuff that should really be reserved for the manual on the back of the box, not in a critical review. The toxic caves, which represent our hero's first incursion into the fortress, are overpopulated caverns. Robotnik dumps his hazardous sewage. Sonic must remove cluckbirds, magma worms, and barrels of toxic waste to find the Chaos Emeralds on this level. Waiting for him to fall, preferably into its jaws, is the Rexon monster. Such cringe to reiterate Sega's fantasy words for secondary, not even secondary characters in these things. And I'm going to tell you, in terms of these, secondary, third, etc. characters, these things sure ain't no caterpillars, I'm going to tell you that. You had an interview with a couple of the designers, from Peter Morwick, answering the question of what was the toughest part of creating Sonic Spinball. It was the flawless incorporation of Sonic's feisty personality and irreverent attitude into the theme of a whirling pinball game, complete with flippers and bumpers. How can you print this stuff, people? Spinball's graphics and sounds, while not as impressive as Sonic 2, are very good. The graphic images are crisp, nicely colored, and make excellent use of texture mapping to fashion a 3D effect. Even the relative visual simplicity of the simulated pinball machine, which appears in the bonus rounds, is greatly enhanced by an impressive backdrop of Sonic's face superimposed against a city skyline. The sound and music effects not only maintain the game's internal rhythm, but also provide audio game clues. The ability to guide Sonic while in freefall should reduce the initial disappointment pin purists may have with the flipper control system. Gamers who haven't played pin simulations should enjoy the game's non-traditional features. After all, this is Spinball, not pinball, and the differences are among this game's strengths. Sonic is back. Laurie Yates. Complexity, average, graphics 90%, sound 90%, playability 95%, replayability 95%, overall 93%. And yes, the differences between Sonic Spinball and an actual pinball machine are among its strengths. The boss battles in this game are a particular strength of Sonic Spinball. Now, real pinball games do often have bosses, although that was a newish thing, going into the late 80s and 90s, to actually have a boss of some capacity in an actual pinball game. But if you unlock the boss, you hit it a few times, you get the bonuses, it goes away. So at some point you can get them back there. That's how bosses work in pinball machines. These ones are varied and unique, and you have a lot of fun conquering them, I feel. And for the purists, not really. We do have a more traditional-based pinball experience in the form of the bonus rounds, which you already saw one a little earlier. That one is a special one that you only get if you collect every single ring on a level, and it's always the same. The one that you saw earlier, if you get it on any other level, it's exactly the same one. But after every level is complete, you also get a unique one. Here we have Robotnik in his little machine there. And we are trying to free various characters from the Sonic Saturday AM cartoon series, the only game in which characters such as Princess Sally will appear. Personally, I was more of a fan of the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon series, but I watched this one as well. Much darker feeling to that cartoon series. Robotnik certainly had a kind of a style in the Saturday AM cartoon. I didn't personally enjoy it all that much, but he definitely, there's no denying he had a unique-ish kind of a style. Loved getting to these bonus rounds as a kid. Probably enjoyed these a lot more than I enjoyed the actual game, although I did enjoy the actual game as a kid. But I loved coming here, even though these don't really play like an actual pinball machine either. It's very hard to get the real feeling of a pinball machine into a video game. Therefore, that's why I think the strengths of a video pinball game is to stray from the reality of pinball machines and offer you something a little different. From GamePro Magazine, August of 1993. CES Showstoppers billed as the ultimate spin-off, Sonic Spinball launches the Hedgehog into an eye-blurring, wickedly fast pinball game, a la Casino Night Zone from Sonic 2. This little 8-meg gem should be a great tide-me-over until Sonic 3 or Sonic CD is announced. From November of 1993. Reserve now at Toys R Us any of these 4 most excellent video game titles coming soon. Sonic Spinball for $49.99. Sonic Mania coming November 23rd, 1993. Save $10 with a mail-in rebate if you get 10 wrappers from Lifesavers. Everyone's favorite hog with an attitude, Sonic, returns in an all-new Genesis adventure with a twist. This is another magazine that went way too deep into the keywords given to them by Sega, like Veggie Fortress. I'm skipping most of this. It's a safe bet, thanks to Sonic's huge popularity, that he'll appear at least once every year from now until eternity in some kind of a new video adventure. It's nice to see Sonic break out of his routine in this well-rounded escapade. I suppose they weren't too far off in their prediction for a yearly Sonic adventure, and it's nice to see these tables pasted together like this, and they actually appear like an actual pinball machine when you do it like that. One final thing from GamePro, March of 1994. Where Sonic Spinball appears as the #1 video game rental for the Sega Genesis via Blockbuster. Now, I cannot stand talking about the mechanics to video game controls. Most loathed subject when it comes to the reviews out there on YouTube. But this is certainly a unique-ish game, and it's focused on a completely different genre, the pinball machine. So, it's a very unique beast, and it's nothing like actual pinball, obviously. And neither is it anything like Pinball Dreams. Now, that is what most pinball games in the 90s were going after. The Amiga original Pinball Dreams, which also was not like actual pinball, but it was something special. A lot of people trying to steal that, and I've even heard that this game, was a little bit based off of Pinball Dreams, although, it's very different to me. I don't see any real similarities between this one. And if it is, then they differed enough to make it its own unique beast. Now, me trying to get into this area via those birds by jumping on top of them, this is where the actual controls become awful in the game. The actual platforming. Now, you see how I did that little half a jump there at first? That's what I'm talking about. The platforming in this game is fairly awful. We completely redone the controls here. So, when we push him with our flippers, we actually have control of him. It's not anything like a pinball game. It's not anything like Pinball Dreams. We have control. With our D-pad, we get to manipulate him. We can make him go left. We can make him go right. We can slow him down. Unprecedented control for a pinball game. Now, the side effect of that, I guess, is that when he's in his platforming section, which is, again, a unique thing to have that added on, a little bit of platforming to go along with the pinball game. It's nice, but, just trying to get him to move, just trying to get him to jump. Dare do a spin dash, he's going to go a little bit up the ramp, he's going to fall right down. Try to get up these. Look, I remember as a kid, I just had all kinds of trouble trying to get to these areas above because I kept hitting those birds. Now, the boss here is probably the most dangerous of the bosses, specifically because it's very easy to go down the hole here, and then once you do, you go down to this lava area. I think there is a trick to that, which I obviously never learned to get out of it, but it's the only boss where, you instantly go to a possible death trap if you go down the hole. All the rest of them, you just go down to the previous level, so you can climb back up. It's not the hardest boss, but it's the most dangerous because it's very easy for you to die, and I did die a couple times while doing this one. From Electronic Gaming Monthly, December of 1993. lever launch through 8 fresh worlds of pinball-pumping mutant mayhem as Mobius' most heroic Hedgehog rolls into action against a demented Dr. Robotnik. Why are you just sitting there? Get your flippers flapping and start spinning. Save on Sega at KB, $10 off with this coupon. Let's meet the review crew: Ed Simrad, Daniel Carpenter, Al Manuel, Sushi X, and Mike Weekend. Nice to see at least 2 actual adults reviewing games for a console. Definitely, the rest of them, definitely Sushi X and Mike Weekend. Yeah, if they don't have the picture there, you know they're little 12-year-olds, probably. Sonic Spinball, released now, 8 megs. Levels not applicable. There are 4 levels. Magazine that can't be bothered to win the game. Sonic returns, yeah! I like his new adventure. The thought of being in a pinball machine is a real novel idea. The graphics, music, and sound are all top-notch. As it stands by itself, it's a good game, but it pales when compared to the other Sonic games. If you're a real pinball wizard, you'll probably love this game, but Sonic fans might be disappointed. Hooray for Sonic! Let's see another. Overall 8 for the first guy. Well, it looks as if Sonic is taking up a new career as a pinball. Sonic Spinball is definitely a new setting for the Hedgehog, and there are points for originality, but the overall execution of the game seems like an afterthought. The scrolling of the pinball boards is choppy and it's hard to control what you want to do. As a plus, the boards are huge with lots of nooks and crannies with items to seek out. It's worth a look. 7 for the second guy. Video pinball games aren't the most exciting, but in this case, I can make an exception. This plays as well as any other game in its category. New Sonic animations have been included which were not found in his other adventure games. On the downside, the graphics don't appear sharp and the sound was unimpressive. At times, it's hard to get into other areas of the pinball and you'd end up going in circles. Just a 6 for that guy. And finally, this is really a fresh idea for Sonic. There are a lot of pinball action and great animations of Sonic rolling, spinning, and teetering. Each level is huge with the multiple play areas that are all interconnected. There are plenty of passageways, but it could have been used a few more power-ups, like an extra speedball. The game gives you plenty of chances, but it is still quite hard to complete each level. 7 for the final one. And finally, for Electronic Gaming Monthly, we have Sonic Spinball entering the Reader's Top 10 in an overall tie at number 8 with X-Men and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. So as we start the third level with one of the more memorable musical tracks, let's talk about the music and sound. Music on the Genesis is a rather complicated issue because the Genesis had a couple different sound chips to it at the Texas Instruments SN76489 and of course the Yamaha YM2612. The Yamaha is what most people probably associate with the Genesis, and the Genesis not sounding all that good because the Yamaha is just it's a 70s FM synthesizer. If even that, it might be late 60s FM technology. People talk about the Genesis. Normally, they're not being very flattering when it comes to the music, except they always have exceptions. They have exceptions with, like the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Sega themselves knew what to do with the hardware, is what they said. Well, Sega just used all of the hardware because the Texas Instruments chip is combined with the Yamaha usually is what made it. The Texas Instrument is a holdover from the Sega Master System. The Genesis is 99% backward compatible with the Master System. As such, it has that sound chip, but with the Genesis, you could use that combined with the Yamaha, and there's also a sampled channel that can play back samples, not just of your voice. You can play back instruments. Usually most people just did drum samples with that, but Sega, they knew how to combine all of this stuff and use it together. That's what Sega did in the rest of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Not this one. This one is, it's the Yamaha all the way here. Now, having said that, it is of the better Yamaha variety. I like the music in this game. It's not like the other. When Sega did it right, when any company did it right and combined all of those different sound chips together with samples, I think it sounds better than the Super Nintendo. Probably not as good as the Amiga, but I think it could sound better than the Super Nintendo. Usually not, because most people just used the Yamaha. Occasionally, the Yamaha was used right, but that's the best you can usually say about the FM-only Yamaha chip. It's right, and that's what I feel. It's of the better FM variety on the Genesis, but it's not wonderful. I do love the overall rock and roll feel that you get from this game. They got the guitars rocking in this one, which, it's not Sonic. It does not have the Sonic feel at all, but I definitely love the Genesis when it gives you a rock and roll feel, and this one certainly has that in abundance. Great example of the bad controls right there. You see, I can't get up. I can't get up the thing. That's how the whole thing controls when you are in the platforming sections. I'm not exaggerating. That's exactly how it was at that moment, and you get used to it. It's not like any of those areas are, death traps or anything. When you're platforming, you're usually higher up on the level, so if you screw up, you just go down a little bit. So, it's not, it doesn't really hurt you. You'll get used to it, and because of the game being so unique, it's fun. It's a fun little ride. From November of 1993, GameFan Magazine. Sega's newest release in the ongoing Sonic series, Sonic Spinball, is all-out fun and extremely addictive game. It's not that Sonic is well represented here. He's not. It's that this is just a good pinball game. Sonic in a pinball game, you ask? Believe me, he's a nice addition. First of all, the game is not just for pinball players. The programmers over at Sega Tech made sure there's something for everyone. Sonic Spinball combines a little bit of action platform to break the usual monotony associated with pinball games. So, this isn't just a mindless sling the ball around the board and rack up points type of game. There are plenty of play mechanics involved here. In each level, you must locate and snatch the Chaos Emeralds, which are carefully placed in some seriously hard-to-reach areas throughout each board. There are 4 levels in total. Don't be fooled, though. The game is not short. There's plenty of good, clean frustration ahead. Needless to say, I found Sonic Spinball to be a unique twist on the Sonic theme and definitely the most fun to be had playing video pinball. And as you can see from the full makeup of the second level of the game, this one is not short, although it is largely, they kind of reverse, the tables from the left to the right. They change a little bit here and there, but, but it's a very large game, and collecting those emeralds, not an easy task. It's probably the only Sonic game that offers a continued challenge to an adult here. Now, all the Sonic games, going back as a kid, they were hard to get anywhere with, and I still think if you take away the rings, they would be among the hardest games ever made to this very day, because those rings give you practical invulnerability. As a kid, you couldn't keep hold of them anyway. You tried your best, but they always went off the screen. The first games, they were difficult, but we loved them, so we kept playing them. We got used to them, we conquered them, and they are a breeze to go through as an adult today. This game, I remember being hard back in the day. It was not a breeze coming back to it for this review. And while I reached the final level, my very first time coming back to it since the 90s, by no means did I feel that was an easy thing to accomplish. It was quite stressful, I feel. Personally, I like that. I like coming back to a game that can offer you a continued challenge. Even if you can get through it, it's not going to give you a game over. I like to feel like I am being challenged. And I will tell you this game, the entire way through, you feel like you are being challenged. And it's a unique one in the Sonic franchise to offer that feeling, I'm going to tell you. As you watch my failure compilation, I only died a few times on the beginning levels. Now what you're seeing, this is where the real pain came from, this final level with the lava here. So many deaths. I had to play it over and over again. I got so many game overs. Had to return to it day after day. I don't know how many days. Probably only like 3 or 4 days, probably, until I finally was able to win it. But there were many deaths involved in getting me to win this one. Many game overs. And when you get a game over in this game, there's no continues. You go back to the very beginning. You have to claw your way back to where you laughed off. And like I told you before with my dad, he was the one paying attention to what the marquee was saying when we were playing actual pinball tables. He was the one that was able to rack up those points versus me, where I was relying on the reflexes. When I played this game as a kid, I was relying on the reflexes. And, eventually you did something right and you knew, that was the thing you needed to do.
No.
But getting to that point, it was all reflexes. And even when I was coming back to this final level, I had to rely on the reflexes again because I did not know what this level wanted from me. You gotta hit that little bumper there and it kills the block. But when I was doing that, I didn't connect it because I didn't see it. The screen was moving too fast. I didn't see the block being removed. So I'm hitting things and ouch. What is you gotta really pay attention to what these clues are that are coming forth. So it's not an easy one. It's certainly challenging both to your reflexes as well as your mind. And if that appeals to you, I think you will enjoy Sonic Spinball. So courtesy of Sega Visions Magazine, who wants some Sonic undies? Oh, wow. Hop in the pond for Mega, Britain's self-proclaimed best-selling Mega Drive magazine, February of '94. Here we've got some actual sales charts compiled by Gallup, and the official top 20. Sonic Spinball comes in at number 3. Any game with Sonic in it is bound to sell by the bucket load, and this one's really quite good. Also, in the American top 10, Sonic Spinball reaches number 2. Although some people were quite cynical about the prospect of a Sonic Pinball game, Sega have come up with an ingenious and very imaginative little game, which is still very much a Sonic game as well as a fun pinball game. However, it's not as spectacular as the platform games, and there are only 4 tables to complete. But did you complete them? From Mega Power, December of '93. So wonder the British Hedgehog Preservation Society doesn't complain about this. A poor little hedgehog, obviously frightened to death, fouls his instincts and curls into a tight ball to be battered against pinball bumpers and targets galore. But when the hedgehog in question is Sonic, a real tough nut, we all know there must be some other motive than cruelty. Hardly a standard pinball game, Sonic Spinball is an inventive hybrid that looks set to launch its hero to an even higher profile. Let's just hope he doesn't get too bruised in the process. From Phil King, being a pinball fan, I was really looking forward to Sonic Spinball. To start with, I thought it was just a regular pinball game. It soon became apparent that this is a very weird and wonderful game indeed. The main criticism in pinball games is usually that racking up bonuses gets a bit tedious after a while. Sonic Spinball is different in that respect, due to its overall long-term objectives. Rather than just trying to get a high score, there's a real purpose to the play. Completing levels is a complicated process, hitting targets and shoots to open other entrances and activate other necessary features. Thus, the compulsion to carry on playing and get further is just as strong as in any other Sonic adventure. The only real reservation I have is whether 4 levels will be enough for good game players. There's certainly plenty of flippin' fun to be had. From Steve, normally, whenever Sonic's involved, you can be virtually guaranteed of a very good game. Is that the case with Sonic Spinball? Well, the answer is most certainly yes. As usual, all the graphics are totally wonderful, and the gameplay is certainly challenging. It's slightly let down by the fact that there are only 4 levels, but each is big and will take a long time to complete. The addiction level is again set on very high, and this game is very difficult to put down once you started playing. Just like in Sonic's previous adventures, this is one more that's certainly worth checking out. From Dave, Sonic Spinball certainly adds an interesting twist to the growing family of Sonic titles. I have to applaud Sega for their bravery in taking their star character off in such a strange direction. As a Sonic game, this may prove a little too diverse for many players, whilst as a pinball game, it may be a little too simple. So where does this game sit itself in the grand scheme of console gaming? As a pleasant little oddity. That's where. Final verdict, don't be fooled, this is much more than a normal pinball game. The scrolling levels are really several tables in one and contain a lot of special features that Sonic needs to activate to get through. Just like his previous games, it's all a lot of flippin' fun. Gameplay 89, graphics 90, sound 86, addiction 92, overall 89%. A pleasant little oddity indeed. I would agree with that, but I would actually say it's the opposite from Dave, where he said, as a pinball game, it's a little too simple, and as a Sonic game, it's a little too diverse. I think it's a little too simple for a Sonic game and a little too diverse for a pinball game. You know, the only objective in a pinball game is to get the highest score possible. And there's plenty of stuff, including bonuses and special stages and junk in the Sonic games. You know, it's the opposite from what he says. Nevertheless, fantastic that this game exists. When I was a kid, you know, I would play Sonic 1 and 2, and that was before Sonic 3 had come out. And, you know, I would go right to this game afterwards. And even when Sonic 3 and Sonic 3D Blast, you know, I always made room to play this game, even though it was the only one I didn't beat as a kid. I always found it was worth a place in the rotation. Graphically, I found the game very attractive, especially for a pinball experience. It's not quite up to the level of the traditional Sonic the Hedgehog games, but there is a lot they put into this one, especially if you look at Sonic and his expressions. There are probably more expressions. You can see a little bit of them in the borders to the left and right. A lot of facial expressions. He definitely doesn't exactly, you know, look like the Sonic that we're used to here, but they give him a lot of style nonetheless. I've read that it was written in C so that they could finish it faster and get it released. The original games were written in assembly, much more complex, but a tighter language, meaning that this game, you know, kind of runs slightly, a little more sluggishly. A couple magazines mentioned the speed of this game. I didn't really. It runs perfectly fine. If you ask me, plenty fast for a pinball experience, and if anything, you know, slight slowdown at times might actually benefit you, not anger you. There's lots of pleasing gradients in the background, lots of colored lights going through a different palette as we go up in the sky. You know, it'll get darker there. You know, especially this table has a lot of nice graphical effects in the backgrounds, I feel. But all the tables look quite beautiful. From January 1994, Mega Machines, the best Mega Drive and Mega CD reviews in the business. No Bowl. I'm calling Bowl. Certainly at least the absolute worst designed, laid out magazine I have ever come across. ADD galore. You know, the people putting this together had absolutely zero attention span. Thou shalt covet. Sonic Spinball. At first, it looked like a cash-in, but it most certainly isn't at the moment. This is the best Mega Drive pinball game available, and living proof that the spiky blue overlord is set to reign for a while yet. You may have also noticed that this is the first magazine which is presented in a landscape format rather than in portrait. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that. I can't properly judge it because I hate the overall rest of the design so much. But here's the average reader's age, I guess. Got some mid to late teenagers here, which is actually a lot older than some of the European stuff I have read in the past, where it seems like the average readers, you know, why do you even bother writing anything? Because the average reader can't even read the magazine. But they appear a little older here. Let's take a look at the review board. Now, they may not be that old, but they have certainly reached emotional maturity, haven't they? Alan gives it an overall 88%. That deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball. Except he isn't deaf, dumb, or blind. Best Mega Drive reviews in the business, no ball. Matt gives it a 92%, noting that the sister publication SNES Force are spending an awful lot of time over at Mega Machines checking out the Sega carts recently. The idea of computerized pinball is hardly new, but the Sonic element makes Spinball a joy to play. The graphics are top-notch, and even though Sonic's a ball for most of the game, he retains the color and speed he's known for. And it's so flippin' addictive. Leave Sonic Spinball on and someone's bound to wander past, mutter, that looks interesting. Pick up the joypad and then hog the Mega Drive for the rest of the day. With great visuals, accessible playability, and loads of neat features, Sonic Spinball's an essential purchase for Hedgehog fans and those who like the finer things in life. All I want to say is thank God Sega didn't cock up such a good idea. Pinball games on the Mega Drive are renowned for their crappiness, and Sonic CD didn't raise too much of a bulge in the trouser department. Best Mega Drive reviews, huh? But But hallelujah, Sonic Spinball is a bit fine. Sega has succeeded in producing a pinball sim in another episode in the Sonic saga without detracting from either genre. It plays like a pinball table and cunningly incorporates the Sonic features we all know and love, e.g. the robotic end-of-level machines. The only niggle is that when you lose a life, you have to start the table-busting process from scratch, which gets on your wick after a while. Other than that, it's quite ace. Price of £49.99. Graphics 88, sound 75, playability 89, lastability 70, originality 86, and overall 90%. Now, I don't actually disagree with any of their overall sentiments about the game. When they're talking their actual, main feelings about the game, they wrote it rather well, but it's when they go off and they make those little remarks. There's no accounting for style, and these guys have absolutely no style I would ever associate with. Now, I would like to compare the reviews from back in the day with contemporary thoughts, both on those reviews from back then, as well as their overall thoughts on the game. Now, you look this game up today, what you're going to find is people saying that back then they had mixed opinions about it. I'm going to tell you, I got a hold of a hell of a lot more reviews than what these people are basing their opinions off of. And I don't cherry pick these things at all, other than if it absolutely reads awfully. If it reads as if a 5th grader wrote it, I will not put it on my review. But I don't care if they feel like I do or not. If they disagree with me, I love it all the more, because, I can feed off of that quite a lot. So I'm going to tell you right now, it is not what the modern sites say, that this was a mixed opinion, mixed reactions. No, generally speaking, they had positive things to say, mostly positive. And it wasn't outstanding what they had to say. They had, a couple gripes with it, but generally positive, not mixed. And nothing negative. Now, today, what you get is that mixed reaction. And some people hate it, some people like it. Nobody really seems to absolutely love it, but you get that mixed kind of a reaction today. Now, I think, actually, that the reason so many reviewers back then enjoyed the game is exactly why so many people today have mixed reactions. The reviewers from back then, no, they had to like many different games. You had to enjoy all games. You had to enjoy many different genres. You were writing about tons of games. You had to like games, even if you were giving them a bad rap sometimes. Generally speaking, you should probably like games if you are reviewing games. Now you compare that with people today, and that is not how people approach reviews anymore, is it? No, they're covering this game. It's because they are a Sonic fan, or maybe they're a pinball fan, and, if you are a Sonic fan and you're coming to this, my feeling is people don't really like it. If you are a pinball fan and you're coming to this, my feeling is people don't generally seem to like it. But if you are actually a fan of both of those things, if you are a fan of games in general, you will like Sonic Spinball. The Sonic fan base can kiss my butt on this one. It is a fine example of a Sonic game, and nothing better to make into a pinball game than this character right here. One of the most unique pinball games ever made. It is a gem on the Sega Genesis that everybody should be proud of, and give it a chance, I say. Now, it's a hard game, especially that final level. It's going to be a pain in the butt conquering that final level, but it is an enjoyable game, and you'll get, somewhere in it, regardless of your skill level. And unlike any other Sonic game, I feel this one offers you a continued challenge, even after you've beaten it. When you come back to it, your skills are still going to be tested. I hope you enjoyed my look at Sonic Spinball. I've taken a look at Psycho Pinball on the Genesis. I've also reviewed Sonic the Hedgehog 1, the original. I'm going to review Pinball Dreams on the Amiga coming up shortly. Beyond that, the last Genesis game I covered was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Hyperstone Heist, so check that out. Also, look at my written review at shot97retro.blogspot.com. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.